My fiancé texted from his bachelor party, accidentally slept with my ex. We're getting back together, and I'm keeping the ring for future. I replied, thanks. Then I emailed the $35 ring bill, which was in his name. And then, I, 34. Female, am, or rather was, engaged. The wedding was supposed to be in 3 months. Now, I'm just sitting in our very quiet apartment, looking at a $1,500 box of useless cream-colored wedding invitations. It all fell apart last night. Thursday, 11:47 p.m. My fiancé, Cameron Torres, 36, was in Las Vegas for his bachelor party. It was a 3-day weekend thing with his college friends, led by his brother Mark. I was fine with it. Honestly, I was enjoying the quiet. I was probably half asleep reviewing client presentations when my phone lit up. It was a text from Cameron. Cameron, hey, so this is super awkward. LOL. But I ran into Jasper at the casino, and we ended up back at his hotel and we accidentally slept together. It just made me realize I'm not over him. We talked all night and we're getting back together. Sorry this is so last minute. We're flying to San Francisco tomorrow, so I won't be back. I stared at that. Accidentally slept together. Well, sorry this is so last minute. My stomach didn't drop. I didn't get angry. It was cold, like my entire nervous system just received an anesthetic injection. I read it 3 or 4 times. Then the follow-up text came through as I was still processing the first one. Cameron, BTW, I'm keeping the ring. It's a clean break gift, and I can probably use it for my future with Jasper. Don't try to contact me. It's better this way. Mark will swing by for my stuff sometime next week. I'm keeping the ring for future. The ring, the 35,000 3-carat, custom-designed monstrosity he selected. The one he insisted on. And this is the part where the story gets specific. Cameron Torres is obsessed with appearances, credit, and status. He has a decent job in financial advising, but his spending patterns are astronomical. When we went to the jeweler, a very high-end, exclusive place, he had a plan. Olivia, darling, he'd said, it's my ring. I want it on my credit. I'm building my portfolio, and a high-limit revolving line from a place like this looks incredible. I, being the supportive, trusting idiot, agreed. He opened the store's credit line in his name only. The $35 charge hit his account. The agreement was simple. It was his debt, his status item, but I, as his fiancé, would gift him the monthly payments. I set up a recurring $1,200 monthly payment from my bank account directly to his jeweler credit line. We'd been paying it for 6 months. Total, $7,200 invested. I looked at his text again. I'm keeping the ring. I typed back one word, me. Thanks. He must have been confused by that, but I didn't care. I opened my banking app, found the recurring payment of $1,200 labeled Cameron Ring. Canceled it effective immediately. Then I opened my email. I pulled up the most recent statement from the jeweler. I attached the PDF to a new message to Cameron. Subject, our arrangement, body. Per your text, our arrangement is over. This is all yours now. Thanks. I hit send. Then I got to work. It was almost midnight, but I felt wide awake. Apartment. We live in my apartment. I signed the lease 4 years before I met him. My name is the primary on the lease agreement. Cameron Torres pays me a small below-market rent for his half of the utilities. I changed the smart lock code on the front door. Lawyer. I emailed a lawyer my sister Harper used for her custody case. Need immediate consultation broken engagement, cohabitation, and asset protection. He is not on the lease. He has left the state with his ex. Please call me. Wedding. I opened our shared wedding spreadsheet. Caterer, $12,000. Venue, $18,000. Band, $6,000. No one. We'd already paid non-refundable deposits on all of them, totaling around $8,000, most from my accounts, since I earn more. That money is gone, vaporized. I spent an hour emailing every single vendor. Per the dissolution of my engagement, I am canceling the event scheduled for date. I understand all deposits are non-refundable as per our contract. Please confirm cancellation. The only shared service we had was a streaming bundle which was in my name. I logged out all devices and changed the password. By 2 a.m., I was done. I looked at the box of invitations on the dining table. I picked it up, walked it to the building's recycling chute, and dropped it in. I slept for 4 hours, woke up, made coffee, and saw my lawyer had already replied asking for a 9 o'clock a.m. call. The silence in the apartment is good, but I'm out $8,000 in deposits, plus the $7,200 I'd already paid towards his ring. It's a $15,200 lesson in trusting the wrong person. But the real show, I suspect, hasn't started. The next ring payment is due in 5 days. He's currently on a plane to San Francisco with Jasper, probably admiring his $35 ring, not realizing his credit line is about to send him a very polite, very firm payment due notification. And I'm waiting. 6 days passed, the quiet period ended, and the entitlement made landfall. My lawyer, Jessica, has been efficient. She confirmed that since he's not on the lease, he has 0 rights to the apartment. He is a tenant at will, and since he sent a text message stating his intent to not return, he essentially abandoned his tenancy. She advised sending a formal certified letter to his last known address, my apartment, and his parents' address, giving him 30 days to retrieve his documented belongings, or they would be considered abandoned. We did that immediately. The first 5 days were silent. I dealt with the fallout. I called my parents and Harper. They were shocked, then furious, then supportive. My mom's primary concern was the $8,000 in deposits I lost. My best friend Chloe, who's a wedding planner, was direct. Honey, I've seen this before. Men who pull this expect to have their cake and eat it too. You did exactly the right thing. Then came Tuesday, payment due date. I was at work trying to focus on a quarterly marketing report when my phone started vibrating on my desk. It was Mark Torres, the best man and brother. I let it go to voicemail. Olivia, hey, so Cameron is having some kind of issue. His card got declined at dinner, and he got some email from the jeweler saying his payment is late. He's freaking out. He said you always pay it. Did you forget? Can you just pay it? This is really embarrassing for him. Jasper had to pay for dinner. Call me. Embarrassing for him. I deleted the voicemail. An hour later, Cameron's mother, Diana Torres, called. I knew I had to take this one. Diana Torres is a piece of work. Olivia, darling, she started, her voice containing artificial sweetness. I'm hearing some very confusing things from Cameron. He's on his trip, you know, just relaxing before the big day. Diana, I cut her off. There is no big day. Cameron ended our engagement via text message last Thursday. He's with his ex, Jasper. The line went silent for a solid 10 seconds. Well, she finally said, her voice turning sharp. That's a discussion for later. The immediate problem, Olivia, is that you seem to have forgotten a payment. Cameron is very distressed. He got a notification about his credit. You know how important his credit is. You need to fix this now. There's nothing to fix, Diana. The ring is his property. The credit line is in his name. My gift payments were contingent on the engagement, which he terminated. A gift? She scoffed. Olivia, you're not a child. You can't just take back a gift. You promised to pay for that ring. You are obligated to pay for that ring. It was part of the engagement. You're trying to punish him for a little wobble. A wobble? He's in San Francisco with him. He told me he was keeping the ring to use with him. He can pay for it. Olivia, you are being unbelievably petty and cruel. He doesn't have $1,200 a month just lying around. You know his budget. Jasper certainly can't afford it. You've trapped him. I've trapped him by stopping payment on a debt he opened for a ring he is keeping to be with a man he cheated on me with. The logic was breathtaking. Diana, this conversation is over. From now on, Cameron and you can direct all communication to my lawyer, Jessica. A lawyer? A lawyer? You're bringing lawyers into this over a ring? No, over his abandoning his tenancy and to schedule the retrieval of his belongings. She'll be happy to discuss the ring with his lawyer, too, if he'd like. Goodbye. I hung up and blocked her number. The main event happened at 8:30 p.m. I was watching Netflix when my building's intercom buzzed. It was Cameron Torres. He was back and he was not pleased. Intercom. Olivia, open the damn door. The code isn't working. I picked up the intercom receiver. All communication goes through my lawyer, Cameron. You're not on the lease. Intercom. What the hell are you talking about? My stuff is in there. My clothes, my laptop. Open the door. Are you psycho? You abandoned your tenancy. You need to schedule a pickup time with Jessica. She's available tomorrow between 10 o'clock a.m. and 2 o'clock p.m. for a civil standby. A civil standby? Are you kidding me? I'm calling the police, you abusive bitch. Okay. I hung up the intercom. Sure enough, 30 minutes later, 2 police officers were at my door. I buzzed them into the building lobby and met them in the hallway. Cameron Torres was there, eyes puffy and demeanor agitated. Jasper was with him, looking uncomfortable and holding his hand. Ma'am, we got a call about an illegal eviction, the older officer said, looking tired. This gentleman says you've locked him out of his home. Good evening, officers, I said calmly. This is my apartment. I am the sole lessee. I handed him a copy of my lease agreement, which Jessica told me to keep handy. Cameron here was my fiancé and a tenant at will. Last Thursday, he sent me this text message. I showed him my phone, the text about leaving, not coming back, and taking the ring. This text states his clear intent to abandon the residence. My lawyer has already sent a certified letter for him to retrieve his belongings, which I have not touched. He needs to schedule a time. The officer read the text. He read it again. He looked at Cameron Torres. Sir, this text says you're not coming back. She's twisting my words, Cameron stated. I was emotional. She's punishing me. She's stolen my ring. Jasper stepped up. Yeah, officer. She's holding his $35,000 ring hostage. I have not, I said. He has the ring. He's wearing it. The cops looked at his hand. There it was. The dispute, I explained, is that he opened a $35,000 credit line in his own name to purchase that ring, and I was gifting him the payments. I stopped the payments when he ended the engagement. The debt is and always has been legally his. The confident look on Jasper's face just evaporated. He looked at the ring on Cameron's finger like it was radioactive. Sir, the officer said, sighing, this is a civil matter, a clear civil matter. We can't force her to let you in. You need to go through your lawyer, like she said, and schedule a time to get your property. We can be present for that to ensure there's no trouble. So I'm homeless? He stated. You're staying with me, babe, Jasper muttered, but he looked sick. You need to leave the property, sir, the officer said. This is her home, not yours. They left. Cameron shot me a look that could curdle milk. As they walked to the elevator, I heard Jasper say to him, The debt is in your name. You told me she bought it for you. The elevator doors closed. So now he's with Jasper, who clearly didn't sign up for a $35,000 debt. The late fees and interest are already accumulating. His credit is about to be torpedoed, and he has to hire a lawyer just to get his designer suits back. I'm still out, $15,200. But watching Jasper's face when he realized his new boyfriend's asset was actually a massive high-interest liability, that was worth at least 5 bancais. 3 weeks have passed. The escalation has moved from shouting in the hallway to the cold, passive-aggressive warfare of lawyers' letters, and the entitlement has reached levels I truly didn't think were possible. First, the dirty tricks that Jessica had warned me about began, but not the ones I expected. No social media blasts, no calls to my boss. Cameron Torres is too image-conscious for that. His attacks were more insidious. Trick 1, the mail fraud. A few days after the police incident, I started getting his mail. Mountains of it. He'd clearly gone online and changed his address for everything back to my apartment. Credit card statements, plural, fashion catalogs, subscription boxes. It was a deliberate attempt to re-establish tenancy, a paper trail to prove he lived here. Jessica's response was simple. We bundled everything unopened into a large box, wrote, "Return to sender, recipient does not reside at this address," on everything, and mailed it back. We also sent a formal letter from Jessica to his parents' address where he's apparently staying, stating that any further mail sent to my address would be considered harassment and we would file a formal complaint. Trick 2. The sympathy play. I got an email from our wedding photographer. Dear Olivia, I was so terribly sorry to hear about the cancellation. I've been in touch with Cameron, and he explained the situation and how you've been struggling. As I know the $2,000 deposit is non-refundable, I'd like to offer a compromise. I can credit that $2,000 towards a New Beginnings photo shoot for Cameron and his new partner. He seems so happy, and I just want to support him during this difficult transition. He what? She had called our vendors, played the victim, and was trying to transfer my lost deposit to a photo shoot with Jasper. Jessica shut this down with a single email. My client's deposit is not transferable to Mr. Torres or his new partner. Any attempt to repurpose my client's funds for his benefit will be considered conversion. The cancellation stands as per the contract. The photographer apologized immediately, saying he'd been misled. Trick 3. The big one. The legal demand. This is where it gets truly wild. Jessica received a formal demand letter from Cameron's new lawyer. I'm summarizing, but this was the gist. Unlawful eviction. He claims my changing the locks was an unlawful eviction, and that his text was written under duress and emotional distress. He's demanding $10,000 in damages for alternative lodging, aka staying with his mom, and emotional pain. Property. He's claiming half the furniture in the apartment, the high-end sound system, and a piece of art I bought 2 years ago, claiming they were all gifts to him. The ring. This is the best part. He admits the credit line is in his name. However, he claims I fraudulently induced him into opening it with a verbal contract to make all payments. He is demanding I either A. assume the full $35 debt immediately, or B. pay him a lump sum of $75.35 for the ring, plus $40K for punitive damages and credit reputation repair, so he can pay it off. He is, in essence, suing me to pay for the ring he is keeping, which he is wearing while living with his ex. I actually laughed. Jessica just smiled. Our response was, as she put it, a precision strike. On eviction, we attached his text. The phrases LOL and sorry this is so last minute are not indicative of a person under duress. He clearly stated his intent to abandon the residence. We also noted the police report where the officers deemed it a civil matter. On property, we attached the credit card and bank statements for the sound system, the furniture, and the art, all purchased from my accounts before he even moved in. Mr. Torres is welcome to his personal belongings, clothes, toiletries, laptop, but he is not entitled to Ms. Fletcher's personal property. His claims are frivolous. On the ring, this was Jessica's masterpiece. Your client, a professional in financial advising, willfully and eagerly opened a line of credit in his own name to build his portfolio. He is a sophisticated party to that agreement. My client's gift payments were a conditional gift, with the condition being the marriage. Your client unilaterally broke that condition. By his own admission in his text message, Exhibit A, he is keeping the ring. He cannot simultaneously keep the asset and discard the liability. My client's thanks, Exhibit B, was his formal acceptance of her new terms. The debt is his. Any further claims on this matter will be met with a countersuit for harassment and legal fees. The immediate fallout was radio silence for 48 hours. Then Jasper called me from a blocked number. Ma'am, you have to help me. He sounded desperate. He's insane. He's getting calls from the jeweler nonstop. Collection agencies. It's only been 3 weeks. They're high interest, man. He told me it was paid for. I can't be part of this. That sounds like a you and him problem, Jasper. No, listen. He wants to sell it, but he took it to a jeweler here and they said resale on a custom piece like that it's like 15 bantapa. He's 20,000 is in the hole. He's crying and screaming all day. His credit is already shot. He can't even get a new credit card. You gotta just pay it for him. You loved him, right? You're ruining his life. I'm ruining his life by not paying for the ring he's wearing while living with you? This conversation is over. I hung up. So, the reality has hit. The $35,000 ring has a resale value of $15,000. He's missed the first payment. His interest rate has probably skyrocketed to the penalty APR, which on those store cards is 29.99%. He is $20,000 plus in debt. The debt is growing daily. His credit is in the sewer, and his new future just called me to beg me to fix it. The civil standby to get his stuff is tomorrow. I'm almost looking forward to it. Friday morning, the civil standby. Jessica told me to be polite, non-confrontational, and to have everything of his packed, itemized, and by the door. I spent Thursday night doing just that. Clothes, shoes, his pretentious skincare routine, his laptop, his protein powders. I boxed it all. It filled 12 boxes. At 10 a.m., sharp. The police officer, the same tired one from before, and Jessica were at my door. Cameron Torres, Diana Torres, and Mark Torres were in the hallway. Jasper was nowhere to be seen. Good for him, I guess. He learned faster than I did. "All right," the officer said. "Ms. Fletcher will remain inside her apartment. Mr. Torres, you and your helpers can retrieve the boxes by the door. You will not step further into the apartment. You will not harass her. You get your things and you leave. Understand?" Cameron Torres was pale and his eyes were puffy. He just nodded, refusing to look at me. Diana Torres, however, looked ready for war. I opened the door. They saw the stack of 12 boxes. "That's it?" Mark snapped. "He has way more stuff than that." "His possessions are in those boxes," I said. Everything on the list he provided his lawyer. As they started grabbing boxes, Diana, accidentally on purpose, tried to walk past me into the living room. "I just need to check the bathroom for his—" Jessica stepped in front of her. "Ma'am, you will remain in the entryway." "This is ridiculous," Diana stated. "She's probably kept all his valuable things." "Like what?" I asked, beat. The coffee maker his grandmother gave him." "It's in box 7, I said, labeled kitchen. Cameron Torres was silent, just grabbing boxes and hauling them to the elevator. But as he grabbed the last one, a small box with his jewelry and toiletries, he stopped. He finally looked at me. "You did this," he said, his voice controlled but shaking. "You planned this. You knew I'd be ruined. You let me take on that debt." I was stunned. "I let you, Cameron? You insisted. You demanded it. You told me it was for your credit portfolio." "You should have stopped me," he said, and the composure cracked. "You knew I couldn't afford it if you set me up. You set me up to fail. I set you up by agreeing to your plan and making the payments for you. You were supposed to love me. You were supposed to take care of me even if I messed up. You're a monster." Diana Torres put her arm around him. "It's okay, baby. We'll sue her for every penny. This is emotional abuse, what she's done." Jessica actually sighed. "Diana, the time for threats is over. You have your belongings. You need to leave now or the officer will escort you out." The officer nodded. Cameron Torres looked at me one last time. "I hope you're happy, Olivia. You in your empty, sterile apartment. You won. You ruined my life. I have nothing." "You have the ring, Cameron," I said, pointing to his hand. He looked at it like it was radioactive. They left. The officer thanked Jessica, nodded at me, and left. Jessica and I stood in the empty entryway. "Well," she said, straightening her briefcase, "that was something. He really believes it, doesn't he? That you're the villain." "Yeah," I said. "He does." "Don't worry about the threats," Jessica said. "He's got no case. He's got no money for a retainer. He's done. That jeweler, though, they are not done with him. He'll likely have to declare bankruptcy before he's 35, and the ring will have to be surrendered in the bankruptcy. It'll be auctioned off for pennies on the dollar, but the debt will be gone. He'll get his fresh start with a credit score in the 400s. She left. I closed my door. The chain lock clicked into place. The silence was loud. I'm still out the $15,100. That hurts. It's a significant, stupid loss. It's the price of admission for this lesson. I'm not happy. I'm not celebrating. I just feel tired and empty, but I also feel free. Harper came over that evening with wine and Thai food. "You know what the best part of this whole thing is?" she said. "You didn't lose yourself in it. You stayed you. That's everything." I don't know what happens to Cameron Torres. I heard from Chloe, who heard from someone, that Jasper broke up with him when the collection calls started. Diana is apparently trying to take out a second mortgage to pay the jeweler, but they won't settle. They want the full amount plus fees, which are now approaching $6,000 in interest and penalties. He's trapped in a prison of his own design, built on status and entitlement. I won, I guess, but it doesn't feel like a victory. It just feels like the end. I'm taking next week off work. I'm going to redecorate the apartment, then I'm going to visit my parents. I'm done with this. The apartment feels different now, cleaner somehow. Not just because his things are gone, but because the air itself feels lighter. I've spent so much of the last year planning a wedding, managing his emotions, accommodating his needs, that I'd forgotten what it felt like to just exist in my own space without having to consider someone else's opinion about every decision. My marketing director salary is mine again. My time is mine again. My energy is mine again. These are not small things. Chloe stopped by yesterday with coffee and asked if I was dating yet. I laughed, not because the idea is funny, but because the question feels so foreign. I'd been in relationship mode for so long, first planning our future, then managing this crisis, that the concept of just being single and content feels revolutionary. "Take your time," she said. "You've got a lot to rediscover about yourself." She's right. I have work to do, not on finding someone new, but on remembering who I was before I became half of an us with someone who saw me as a financial convenience rather than a person. To anyone reading this, trust your gut. If someone's obsession with the image of a life is stronger than their respect for you, run. Just run. The cost of staying is always higher than the cost of leaving, even when the bill comes to $15,200. The quiet is good. The space is mine. The future is unwritten. I'm ready for it.